Hey, it's Sam, and I'm making this video about the recent big news in the US election where Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Kamala Harris has very quickly become the nomination. It's really shaken things up, interjected enormous amount of energy into the campaign. And I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to be breaking down the different, the important charts, the USA chart, the inauguration chart, of course, Kamala Harris's chart. I also have Trump's chart here. We're going to look at that a little bit. I'm not going to be making full prediction because that takes a little more time, but I am going to be going over this very important time, including when Biden made the announcement. So stick around and check it out.
Please like the video. Clicking like helps a lot more than you know. It pushes the video higher in relevant video searches. Also, please leave a nice comment. Comments also help more than you know as it raises the video in searches. Many times with hundreds of likes, there are only a dozen comments and they can be disproportionately negative. So be positive. Let me know if you like this. Even just a few words really helps. So subscribe, ring the bell to get notified of upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like.
Yep, there you go. And so it's very much a great opportunity here to learn about astrology at this channel. And again, one of the things I am going to be doing is releasing a full prediction video here in the next few days. It takes a little more time to do that, and that's going to be at the Oracle 5D avatar level. That Oracle 5D avatar level is only $29.99 per month. In addition to that, you get weekly forecasts, you get daily forecast delivered each week and whatnot, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But first, let's really dive into this very transformative shift that just happened. Again, this is the chart of Kamala Harris. And you see she has this Gemini rising sign up here. She's got Rahu in the first house. Gemini, the Gemini ascendant very close to Rahu in that first house. And it's in Mrigashira Nakshatra, the deer head. And so she has those big deer eyes. A few very, interesting features. She's got Sun, Mercury in the fifth house. Again, that's very much about intelligence, discrimination. It's called a Buddha Aditya Yoga. It's very common to have Sun and Mercury joined, but, this one is very energized. Mercury is very close to the Sun. It was behind the Sun, so it's very active and powerful. So we're ruling planet in the fifth house, massive Raja Yoga, with the first and fourth house ruler in the fifth. So it means she has a lot of creative intelligence, creative emotional intelligence, again, with the fourth lord in the fifth. Also got a really powerful Saturn up here, the ninth house ruler in the ninth lord in the ninth. The ninth house shows teachings. It shows, frankly, morals, values. Of course, it is retrograde. Saturn is retrograde almost half the time, so that's not very unusual. But it's also aspected by Venus, the fifth house ruler. So these Dharma house rulers are very taken care of in her chart. She has a real sense of righteousness and truth. That's what Dharma is. Doing what we know is right? And being willing to fight for what we know is right. But you can also see she has this sort of laughs easily, smiles easily, but she's also a tough lady. She means business. You can see when she gets serious, she's not fooling around, and that's that Saturn. Saturn is aspecting her moon, very close degree as well. You see Saturn is 5 degrees. His third house aspect right on her natal moon in the 11th house. So that, Saturn is aspecting her moon, again, where you can really see that serious quality, but then very easily she starts laughing and having fun. And, one of the biggest things that's happening is they're making fun of her laugh, this sort of cackling laugh, which not really a great strategy if you're the opponent, and the biggest thing they can say about you is that you laugh a lot. Like, the world could use a little laughter. So anyway, but she also has a debilitated Mars here, very deeply debilitated, deepest debilitation degree here in Cancer, but it is exchanging with its ruler. When planets exchange, it's a very powerful, what's called Nichabanga, particularly, this one is Nichabanga. The exchange isn't called Nichabanga, the exchange is when they exchange, when they're in each other's houses. But Mars, even though it's debilitated, is in a very strong Nichabanga with the ruler because it's exchanging with the ruler. It's one of the most powerful ways of modifying the debilitation because it's in the ruler's house. So Mars is in the sign ruled by the moon, and moon is in the sign ruled by Mars. So that's a very strong what's called sambandha or connection. She also has another sambandha with Venus and the sun, another debilitated. So she's got, both Mars and the sun debilitated, and both of them are exchanging with the ruler. So the sun is also debilitated, but it's exchanging with Venus, the ruler. So even though she's got two debilitated planets, which someone might point out, you would be erroneous. You'd be making an erroneous conclusion to think that they're as weak as they would, as you might think, because you have to look at Nitya Bhanga, and that's really what shows the ending point of the debility. It's not just the dignity as far as the debilitation. It's what is there anything modifying it. So two very powerful aspects of Nitya Bhanga here. She's in Rahu Venus Dasha. So in Rahu Venus, this is where all the stuff started here. In Rahu Venus, she just got this it's actually Rahu Venus, which started in February. Her status really improved, especially as being out front more since February. But she's about to be really sort of coronated at the Democratic Convention around August 7th or so, this Rahu Venus Sun. And then by the time we hit the election, she'll be in Rahu Venus Moon. Again, that's going to take a little more time. I'm going to do the full prediction with her chart, and we have Trump's chart here. And I'll be looking at his dashas and their harmonic charts and whatnot. So that's a more detailed explanation. And as I said, I am going to be doing that at the Oracle 5D Masterclass level. You get all of the member videos, which includes a weekly update, every day updated. On Sunday, I do the full forecast for each day of the week. I also do a monthly update, which I'll be doing here very soon, the August full update, and then also a Vedic week ahead where I go through what's called the Panchanga. And so all of that there. And then when you get at the Oracle 5D level, you also get these master classes that I do. So that's what you can look forward to if you want to get the full election video when I release it. It'll be in a few days, maybe early next week. I have quite a lot going on. But I also wanted to look at the chart. So again, we have Kamala Harris's chart here. We'll be looking at all of these things. The Biden public announcement, this is when the announcement happened. So the announcement just happened on July 21st. This was this past Sunday at literally like 1:46 p.m. in the District of Columbia. And you could see when that announcement was made, we had that, we just looked at her chart. We have that Libra ascendant. And if you remember, she has two planets there in Libra, including Mercury, her ruling planet, and the sun. Very close degree to when Biden made that announcement. And he made the announcement that he was withdrawing and endorsing Kamala Harris. So this was really kind of sort of coronation, you might say. But one thing needs to be understood. He said he was going to, endorse her, but then she went out and got all the delegates rounded up in about a day and a half. By the end of a day and a half, all of the delegates said they were going to support her. I think it shows the sort of desperation that people were dying to kind of resolve this, and what a powerful and popular and inspiring candidate she is. And you can see those strengths in this natal chart. It's really quite striking. Again, Gemini is a very friendly, interesting, fun sign, intelligent. Again, her ruling planet is in Libra with the sun. Again, these are very friendly, approachable, down-to-earth signs. Again, she's got Rahu right on the ascendant. And you have to understand, if you've studied with me, you do understand that Rahu isn't just some crazy demonic force. It just gives a lot of energy, a lot of power, a lot of really what you would call charisma as well. And she has it. She has that that ability to get attention, but she's a polarizing figure as well. And I know there are people watching this who are going to be giving me they hate, oh, she's this or that or whatever. I don't really care. I'm just giving the straight skinny here. Of course, she's a polarizing figure, as all politicians are. But you can see that Gemini, that at least what seems to be a very approachable, likable nature, and also good at politics, good at networking, good at building consensus within a day or so. Again, that Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius energy, Saturn in Aquarius, Sun, Mercury, and Libra, ascendant Gemini. And again, Aquarius is like the people. It's like it took no time. It took like a day for everybody to go, of course, this is great. This is much better than the old man who can't form two sentences. Now the old man in the race is Donald Trump. Now we're not talking about the old man Biden. We're talking about the old broken down man Trump and his ramblings. So immediately energized the race. And you can see relative to her chart how that really showed up, especially that ascendant here. And there's other things, the Jupiter return, also Saturn return. She's getting the Saturn return, right? Her Saturn is early Aquarius, and the announcement happened with Saturn in the same house. It's going retrograde there. But so again, and you could see even this transit here, Venus was going through, going over her Mars. She's in the, again, in the Rahu Venus Dasha, and Rahu is going through her 10th house. Again, so Gemini people are getting a lot of that sudden, unexpected stuff in their career now. So you can see that with her. So the other thing, the other charts that I'm going to be looking at when I do the case study, this is USA election day. So when we look at the election day, again, forget this ascendant, forget the Scorpio ascendant, because this is just 10 a.m. in the District of Columbia, which isn't a good time, but we're just looking at the configuration of the planets. Mainly we want to look at the moon. We want to see where the other planets are as well. Of course, Jupiter is going through, it would be her 12th house, but it's a Jupiter return for her. And, for Trump, it's his 10th house, right? So again, that could definitely be seen as a boon for him. But it's a lot more important. It's a lot more to it than that. Mars, she'll be having a Mars return again. We just say that she has this debilitated Mars, but it's Nichubanga. The moon is going through her 7th house, right? Now again, it's Trump's 5th house. You got to look at that, right? So she's having a solar return, not too long. Because again, her sun is in. She was born October 20th, and this is this is a couple weeks after. So again, I'm going to dive into those transits. I also even have Inauguration Day, 2025. So this will be the Inauguration Day, so we can look at that to see which one this favors more, Trump or Harris. But we also have the USA chart, and this is my rectified USA chart. Again, there's been a chart that's been floated around for years that is not really based on, I don't think, a very good time. We have the chart in hand of the astrologer Sibley from England at the time of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It was said to be about 5:30 in the afternoon. I pushed that forward a little bit, and it's like 5:41 on that day, which makes for the Scorpio ascendant and the Shatabishak Nakshatra. And so this shows that the U.S. is in a Rahu Mercury cycle, just started. We were in Rahu Saturn. We just went into Rahu Mercury in May of this year. And since May, again, notice one thing, Mercury is the 8th lord. Mercury rules the 8th house. So since May of this year, the USA, it's been a lot of topsy-turvy turmoil. We have a former president getting convicted or getting, found guilty, and then courts reversals, and then we just had a president, seemingly get shot. He was shot at. There's just reports today that they weren't sure if it was really a bullet or not, but either way. And then a week later, the would-be nominee, the current president who won the nomination, drops out and endorses his vice president. Again, tons of turmoil. This is Mercury, the 8th lord. So we're running Rahu Mercury, the 8th lord now. And on election day, it'll be Rahu Mercury Ketu. So again, the tertiary level, it'll be Rahu Mercury Ketu. So we have to look and see what that means. So all these things I'll be analyzing in more detail when I do the full case study. Again, I'll be doing that in a few days. And if you want to get that, you can, if you're already a member at the Oracle 5D star level, then you'll get that. I usually release one new video or two new video trainings per month as part of the Oracle 5D membership. So you could check that out. But again, very interesting times right now. This sudden and shocking reversal in the presidential race. Again, I could have brought up Biden's chart too, but I didn't feel like having 15 charts. This is really about Kamala Harris, and maybe I'll do one on Biden as well. In fact, you know what? Let's just see here. Let me just see here. Maybe I'll just bring him up here right now. Biden, where is he? Is he in here? Can I find him easily? Name Biden announcement, Biden, Joe Biden. Okay, there he is. There's his chart. All right, so let's just look at that too. So again, this current nature, we just had the announcement, Biden announcement. So he's in Saturn, Moon, just started. So Saturn, Moon, this is right after the disastrous debate, which happened in, oh no, that was since June, right? It was June 20, time is going so fast. Was it June 27th? June something? So Saturn, Moon. And Moon, okay, let me see. What does the Moon rule? That's where we'll really see it. Moon rules the Saturn in the 7th house. And in his D10, the Moon is up here with Saturn as well in the 9th house. So it was just time for Biden to go. I mean, he was just time for him to go. And again, so the announcement happened. You see, again, this ascendant was Libra here. Yeah, so the ascendant was just about to pass over his 12th house. And so his Saturn, Moon, he did his duty, but now he had to he's looking like Saturn, a little too much like Saturn. So, but I mainly wanted to do this to talk about this really shocking and intense elevation of the vice president now and the shakeup in the race. And again, even if we look at Trump's chart here, because he suddenly got a shock. He thought he was going to be running against Joe Biden, who's in Jupiter K2 Saturn. He's in Jupiter K2 Saturn now, and that's when the debate happened as well. So Jupiter K2 Saturn, his Saturn is his 7th lord. It's in the 12th house, joined Venus. So again, Biden's chart in if he would have been in the race looked stronger. At least when I analyzed it, and I said, I'm doing this if it's these two in the race, but I wasn't sure it'll be both of them. And you already saw Trump could have been taken out. Biden could have quit. Any of them, either of them could croak. They're in their late 70s. So again, Trump could have been taken out by an assassin, right? He didn't, but again, so this is why even when I did the prediction earlier, I did as if it was these two, right? So now I'll modify it, but who knows with Trump too? I mean, these are old people and dangerous times, but I'll do a case study anyway, but you can see how Jupiter K2, which is what he's in now, Jupiter K2 Saturn, the 6th lord and the 12th, it's with Venus. It's very, suspect here. It's definitely not a strong planet, as indicated by being married 3 times and seemingly, I don't know what the relationship is with his wife now. Both indicators of relationship are in the 12th. Anyway, so I don't want to get into too much here, but with his chart, but mainly a reintroduction to Kamala Harris, this huge shift. You could see how she's really been thrust since Rahu Venus. Again, Rahu unexpected, like bam, Venus stuff, really showing her, her Venus is aspected by the 9th house ruler. Venus is the ruler of Sun and Mercury. So this is also one of the main reasons why she's been thrust into prominence, because Venus rules her ruling planet. And again, based on the rules of rulership, when the planet, anything the planet rules gets activated. So Venus is ruling her Lugna Lord Mercury and Sun, which is the indicator of self. So Venus is an incredibly powerful planet to actualize power for her, power and identity. And that's what this Sun Mercury conjunction is for Gemini, the Buddha Aditya Yoga here, which Venus is ruling. Buddha is Mercury, Aditya is the Sun. The Buddha Aditya Yoga is getting activated by Venus. And in her case, it's not just the yoga for intelligence and discrimination, which is what the yoga generally means for anyone, but for her, it's also the identity that revolves around that power of speech, of persuasion, of intelligence, of discrimination. Gemini, they're driven by understanding things, figuring things out, being able to communicate things. And she's been a great communicator for a long time. And she really became quite subdued once she became vice president because her role changed. And she kind of got sort of pushed in the background. And people have been like, boy, what really happened to her? Well, we've seen this week. She's come out like, okay, here I am. I've been here the whole time, but I was in a different role. Now, what did she say today? Bring it on. That was the thing. I just saw she did a speech. And she pivots very easily between like being like prosecutorial and serious to like, and then, to then being funny and kind of laughing. It's the kind of charisma. It's also very natural charisma, but it's not based on a lot of bombast and nonsense. It's not based on sharks and electrocutions or Hannibal Lecter or other silly stuff that Donald Trump has been talking about. There's also charisma that's based on like intelligence and knowing what you're talking about and bringing forth a message. So I think she's going to be an incredibly formidable foe here. And it's definitely really shifted things. So again, I know there are people that are going to hate this because of their political beliefs or whatever, but sorry, it's not just my political beliefs. I'm also an objective person, and I can objectively see that one guy, again, watches speeches. And if you disagree with me, show me the speeches where he's actually talking about policies that are going to benefit the people and not just, I'm your retribution and rambling about how everything is a witch hunt and all of that. Again, if you like that and you like him, fine. Most people, and I say most because for the most part, I think the majority don't really want to hear all that. They tolerate it from Trump because something about him they think is going to be beneficial, but they care about themselves. And I think it's pretty objectively, clear. So again, I know people are going to get mad at me for saying what to me seems like the obvious, but there you go. And again, look for a full case study on this. I am going to be doing a full election prediction as it stands now. And when I do that, I'm going to go over all of the dashas and the harmonic charts and do an in-depth case study. Because again, in order to do this, I have to delve into, it's involved. It's like an hour. And, I have to delve into the D10. I have to assess the yogas. I have to do the transits that day. I have to scale and measure whether they're more beneficial for this one or that one. And it takes a while, right? Everything isn't, and, it's also just one of those things where I want people that are really interested to, benefit from it. Because, again, I don't really know. In fact, I will tell you that at my first impression, I'm definitely a little more concerned about her because on election day, she goes into Rahu Venus Moon. Now, again, this isn't dispositive yet, but Moon is much more difficult and much more different than the sun. And again, the moon is the ruler of this debilitated Mars. And in the D10, the moon is in the 12th house. Now it's exalted, but it gets very tricky. Again, actually, Joe Biden's, when I did this case study between Biden and Trump, Biden's was a lot more clear, was pretty definitive based on what I've been doing to make accurate predictions for a long time. His was almost unambiguously much stronger and much more clear. But again, that was a hypothetical, and I knew it at the time. But this one is a little, I'm not really sure. But Trump's doesn't look great either because he winds up being in Jupiter Venus, but his Venus is a mess in the D10. It rules this debilitated sun, Rahu, and it's in the 6th house, but it's exalted again. So I have to go over these things with a lot more detail, and I'll do that in the detailed video. And again, that's available to members who want to join at the Oracle 5D star level. It's worth it to get that and all of the other updates. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. Big, important, interesting times that we're working through these days. And either way, stay loving and sane and do your spiritual practices, do your meditations, because that's really all that matters in this big, crazy world. It really is.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.